You did everything right. You were patient. You didn't chase. You listened, you supported, you gave him space, and still, he pulled away. The messages got shorter, the calls faded, and that warmth you once felt turned cold. It makes no sense, right? How can men lose interest after you stop making mistakes? Well, there's a reason. A psychological one that flips everything you were told about attraction upside down. Welcome back to Elias, your space for real talk about love, self-worth, and the psychology of attraction. From a young age, most women are taught that if you want to find love, you have to put in the work. You're told that the right man will notice your effort, appreciate your kindness, and value the energy you invest in the relationship. You're encouraged to show up, to be available, to go the extra mile, because that's what good partners do. It's a message that's everywhere, in movies, in advice columns, in the stories we hear from friends and family. The idea is simple. If you care enough, if you try hard enough, the right person will see your worth and love you for it. But here's the trap. What no one tells you is that sometimes, all that effort can backfire. When your effort starts to feel less like genuine connection, and more like you're trying to convince someone to choose you, it creates a subtle but powerful shift. Instead of building attraction, it can actually erode it. You might find yourself anxiously waiting for a reply, overanalyzing every message, or feeling like you have to prove your worth over and over again. The more you try to bridge the gap, the wider it seems to get. This is the effort trap. The more you push, the more distant things feel. In male psychology, there's a hidden dynamic at play. When a woman pursues emotionally, when she's always the one reaching out, planning, or trying to fix things, it doesn't feel like love to him. It feels like pressure. Emotional pursuit, even when it comes from a place of care, can be interpreted as emotional pressure. It's not that he doesn't want to feel wanted, but when the energy shifts from mutual interest to one-sided pursuit, it triggers a subtle loss of polarity, the natural push and pull that creates attraction. Here's the paradox. He doesn't process your effort as a sign of how much you care. Instead, he reads it as uncertainty about your own value. When you're constantly trying to prove yourself, it sends a message, maybe not with words, but with energy, that you're not sure you're enough as you are. He senses that doubt, even if you never say it out loud. It's not about the actions themselves, but the intention behind them. Are you reaching out because you genuinely want to connect, or because you're afraid of losing him? You see, the more you try to prove you're worthy, by over-explaining, by chasing, by over-giving, the more his subconscious mind interprets it as, she doesn't think she already is. It's a subtle but powerful message. Instead of seeing your effort as a gift, he starts to wonder why you feel the need to try so hard. It can make him pull away, not because he doesn't care, but because the dynamic has shifted. The relationship starts to feel unbalanced, and the natural attraction that brought you together begins to fade. And here's the hardest part. This subtle insecurity, this feeling that you have to earn love, is something he can sense before you even say a word. It's in your tone, your body language, the way you look at him. True connection comes from a place of self-worth, not self-doubt. When you trust your own value, you don't have to chase or convince. You simply show up as yourself, and that's what creates real, lasting attraction. We've all heard it before, that men need a safe woman in order to truly open up, to be vulnerable, to let their guard down. It's a message that's everywhere, in movies, in advice columns, in the stories we tell ourselves and each other. The idea is that if you're endlessly patient, always understanding, and never challenging, you'll create a space where a man feels comfortable enough to reveal his deepest feelings. But is that really true? Or is it just another myth that keeps us stuck in patterns that don't serve us? The truth is, emotional safety doesn't come from being endlessly understanding or sacrificing your own needs for someone else's comfort. It doesn't come from always saying yes, or from never expressing your own feelings, frustrations, or desires. In fact, when you make yourself smaller to accommodate someone else, you don't create safety, you create invisibility. And that's not what anyone truly wants, even if it's what we've been taught to believe. Real emotional safety comes from boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible lines that define where you end and someone else begins. They're not walls to keep people out, but rather guidelines that let others know how to treat you, and how you treat yourself. When you have boundaries, you show up as your authentic self. You communicate your needs, your limits, and your values. You're not afraid to say, "This is what I need," or "This doesn't work for me." And that's powerful. Here's the thing. Men don't fall for the woman who always understands them, who always puts their needs first, who never pushes back or stands up for herself. That kind of endless accommodation might feel safe on the surface, but it actually erases the very contrast and individuality that create attraction in the first place. When you're always available, always agreeable, you become predictable. And predictability is the enemy of fascination. Men are drawn to women who quietly know themselves, who have a sense of self that isn't dependent on anyone else's approval. There's something magnetic about a woman who is comfortable in her own skin, who has her own interests, her own passions, and her own boundaries. She doesn't need to be the center of his world, because she's already the center of her own. That's rare, and rarity is what triggers fascination and desire. When you center your entire emotional world around him, when you make his moods, his needs, and his happiness the axis of your own life, his brain stops perceiving contrast. There's no mystery, no edge, no spark. Without contrast, there's nothing to ignite curiosity or passion. The relationship becomes flat, and the chase, the excitement of discovery, fades away. He doesn't stop chasing because he stopped liking you. He stops because there's nothing left to discover. No new layers, no surprises, no sense of your own inner world. The most captivating relationships are built on mutual respect, healthy boundaries, and the willingness to be fully yourself. When you honor your own needs and stand firm in your truth, you invite him to do the same. And that's where real emotional safety and real connection begin. Here's what actually happens when he starts pulling away. He's testing the emotional equilibrium between you. If you panic, overtext, or emotionally overfunction, his subconscious registers it as imbalance. So he withdraws further, not consciously, but instinctively, because the relationship stops feeling like choice and starts feeling like obligation. That's when the real shift happens, when you stop anxiously trying to hold on to him, and instead, you focus on your own sense of self, your own inner stability. It's almost counterintuitive, right? We're taught that if we want someone to stay, we have to show them how much we care, how much we're willing to do, how available we are. But in reality, the less you try to grip tightly, the more he senses your confidence, your calm, your ability to stand on your own 2 feet. That's the energy that draws him in, not desperation or neediness, but a quiet assurance that you're whole, with or without him. And ironically, that's what reawakens his attraction. It's not about playing games or pretending you don't care. It's about genuinely shifting your focus back to yourself, your passions, your growth. If you're feeling frustrated or confused by this, you're not alone. Most of us were never taught how attraction psychology actually works. We grew up with movies and stories that told us love is about grand gestures, constant communication, and proving our worth. But real lasting attraction is built on respect, space, and a sense of mystery. It's about letting him come to you, not chasing after him. And yes, that can feel scary at first, especially if you're used to giving and giving, hoping he'll finally see your value. But that's exactly why I'm here. My goal is to help you understand the deeper layers of male emotional logic, so you can stop second-guessing yourself and start feeling empowered in your relationships. If you're finding this eye-opening, if you're starting to see patterns in your own experiences, I invite you to hit subscribe and check out my full videos. I break down these concepts in detail, with real-life examples and practical tips you can use right away. You deserve to feel confident and secure, not just in love, but in every area of your life. Remember, the moment you truly understand how male emotional logic works, everything changes. You stop chasing after validation, and instead, you start choosing what and who truly aligns with your values. You become the chooser, not the chaser. That's the real power shift. So, take a deep breath, trust yourself, and know that you're already on the path to a more fulfilling love life. Keep watching, because there's so much more to discover. The truth is, relationships are built not on effort, but on energy exchange. Effort without alignment feels like labor. Effort with alignment feels like love. When you meet a man where he's emotionally unavailable, your effort becomes emotional overcompensation. But when you meet him where he's emotionally curious, your effort becomes intimacy. So, just stop trying to earn connection. It's not a job. It's a mirror of your own emotional stability. Here's your reset. Let him feel your absence, not your anxiety. Let silence speak for you. Let your self-respect do the talking. That's not manipulation, it's magnetism. And it's honestly the only language emotionally mature men actually understand. I'm Elias, reminding you, real love isn't a reward for effort. It's a reflection of emotional truth. And when you stop chasing connection, you create space for the right man to rise in